What is a DAO? If you've ever invested in a company, or even if you haven't, you probably know that the board of directors and executive people like CEOs and CFOs run the company. Where the companies have external investors like you and me, these directors and executive act as a trustee for us. We rely on them to manage our money in the best possible way, to make important decisions to run the company, and to fairly execute the decisions taken by us, that is, investors. But what if they don't? Management frauds are no strangers in the corporate world. Enron, for example, was one of the most notorious cases of management fraud. When the company began to face declining revenues and debt troubles, company executives hid the facts through massive accounting fraud. In the end, thousands of employees lost their jobs, and Enron's creditors and investors lost billions. The DAOs, or Decentralized Autonomous Organizations, are designed to overcome exactly this limitation of placing trust on humans in a company. In this video, I'm going to explain what exactly a DAO is, how they work, and how they are different from existing organizations. At present, the DAOs are at a budding stage, and considering the problem they solve, there exists an immense opportunity for them to grow. So make sure you stick around to the end, as I'm going to show you some real-life DAO projects that you can become a member of. Alright then, let's get to the point. What exactly is DAO? In very simple terms, DAO is a community of people on the internet that come together for a common purpose. But what differentiates it from communities on social media like Facebook or Reddit is that people commit money for a cause, be it to make music, to crowdfund an idea, or even to start a charity. So it's a community with money. What makes DAO interesting, though, is the problem that it solves. So imagine you and a bunch of strangers believe in a business idea. You discuss it on Reddit and are really convinced that this is a big opportunity. You feel good about finding like-minded people. But when it comes to committing your money, you probably will be hesitant to invest, alongside people who you don't know personally. There are tons of such opportunities which never get acted upon just because we can't trust strangers with our money. Although, on the other hand, you see thousands of investors in public companies like Tesla who personally don't know each other. They invest in a company because they trust the management and Elon Musk to use their money profitably. Now that we understand the importance of management in a company, we must realize that management is only a group of humans. They can make mistakes or even mismanage the company. DAO is an organization that replaces the centralized management with computer code. The computer code doesn't make mistakes and works only as programmed. Sounds odd? Let me give you an example. Imagine the company has an option whether to invest in $100,000 in Project Moon or Project Mars, and it can't invest in both. In a normal company, the CEO has the power to influence the decision if suppose he favors Project Moon over Project Mars. This isn't the case in a DAO. In a DAO, the members can agree on computer code that automatically invests in the projects based on member votes. If, for example, 100 members have equal voting rights and more than 50 people vote to invest in Project Mars, $100,000 will be automatically invested in that project without any external party influencing the decision. So how exactly is DAO better than existing organizations? There are three ways in which people who believe in DAO say that traditional companies aren't great. The first is misaligned incentives. If you're working at the company, you want to get paid as much as possible, but the company wants to pay you as little as possible to make more profits for themselves. In DAO, there's no entity that makes money off of you. The more the DAO makes, the more you as a member get paid. The second is barriers to access in the company. It's hard to get into companies. There's a long interview process, which sometimes isn't necessary. Companies usually require you to be located at a specific place to get hired. The DAO, on the other hand, is completely flexible. It lives on the internet, so it doesn't matter where you are located. And becoming a member of a DAO is easier and more efficient than getting hired at a company. The third and most important limitation is no ownership. I think you already know it's very difficult to get wealthy on a salary. The real way to get wealthy is to capture the upside of something that you are creating. If you are making something cool and that helps the company, you should get a chunk of that. If you work with a client, which helps the client grow, you should get a chunk of that. This isn't usually the case with traditional companies. But when you're working with a DAO, you get the upside of your work. Considering this explanation for DAO, you probably would have figured that DAO works similar to worker cooperatives. If you don't already know, worker cooperatives are owned and self-managed by their workers, and decisions are taken either individually or through elected management. There are several examples of worker cooperatives around the world. The DAO is substantially similar to worker cooperatives, which have been around for hundreds of years, but it is the technology that is new. The reason that you don't see thousands of worker cooperatives around the globe is that it's operationally very hard. It's hard for people who have never met to trust each other. So you see a lot of small-scale, closed cooperatives. But the DAO allows to scale that model up so that anyone in the world can work with anyone else in the world and trust that they will work towards a common goal. So, now that you get the conceptual idea, how is it implemented technologically? 2 words: smart contracts. If you haven't already watched it, check out my video on DeFi, where I explain how smart contracts make cryptocurrencies programmable and opens up immense opportunities in the crypto world. The same smart contracts show their magic in a DAO. Smart contracts are basically lines of code that act as a contract between the parties. In a DAO, smart contracts manage how decisions are taken and how they are executed. If you're smart enough to make a smart contract, you can automate almost any decision. For instance, the DAO members can vote on HR functions like hiring candidates and the salary of employees, finance functions like investing or not investing in a project, and even strategic functions like improving the governance of a DAO to make it more secure and accessible. What's more, the code is open sourced. This means it is transparent and easily verifiable by anyone. Now that you understand how smart contracts are essential to the DAO, the question arises whether you can change a smart contract itself. Well, yes. If the members vote to make a change in the lines of code of smart contracts, they can change those as well. Now, we don't want you to only see the positive sides of this technology. It's probably the right time for you to be aware of the downsides as well. One of the downsides, and this is from a business perspective, is that there are no business secrets. The corporations have business secrets that give them a competitive advantage. For example, Google's search algorithm exists as intellectual property in code and is regularly updated to improve and protect its operations. The secret formula for Coca-Cola, which is locked in a vault, is an example of a trade secret that is a formula or recipe. In the case of DAO, though, there are no trade secrets, since anyone can become a member and the code is open source. Secondly, as is the case with any code, the DAO is vulnerable to cyber attacks. More so in the case of DAO, since the code is open source, the attacker has access to it all the time. The attacker can find the gap, and if he finds one, he can attack the DAO and members can suffer losses. At this point, you should know about one of the first DAOs, the DAO. It was launched in April 2016 on the Ethereum blockchain as a venture capital fund. Despite the known security vulnerabilities, it raised over $100 million through crowdfunding. Everyone wanted to be a part of this revolutionary idea, until in June 2016, the users exploited vulnerabilities to siphon off 1/3 of the DAO's funds. By September 2016, the DAO token was delisted and it had, in effect, become defunct. Scary, right? So, while decentralized alternatives are the future, and there seems to be many opportunities to make money, remember not to get carried away. We regularly come out with videos to make all the complicated crypto concepts easy to understand. If you think we're doing a good job, please give a thumbs up and make us feel appreciated. Alright, now that we've got that out of the way, Let's look at some real-life DAO projects you can be a part of. There are at least 3 types of DAOs that you should know of. The first one is service DAOs, where a group of people come together online to deliver specific services to other people. Raids Guild is a service DAO that designs and develops Web3 products in a decentralized manner. Secondly, you have social club DAOs. This can be described as a type of digitally native tribe and a place to meet people with similar interests. Friends with Benefits is one such DAO, which is focused on Web3 and the future of culture. Currently, it has 2,000 members. FWB DAO is based on Discord, where its members cooperate in chat rooms. And finally, you have venture DAOs, which are venture capital funds that are decentralized, in which anyone can join and invest in. Metacartel is a famous example of venture DAO that has invested money in a bunch of projects. The DAOs are still at the budding stage, so while this is an opportunity to participate in a DAO at an early stage, it also has risks. Knowing more about the DAO that you want to join will help you to make a more informed decision. Okay then, that's it for this video. Which companies do you think can be replaced by DAO? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to show your appreciation for our efforts and consider subscribing to Crypto Skills so you don't miss our next bite-sized explainer video on crypto. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.